So we're getting ready for Texas right now, so our office is kind of a mess with wings and everything, but I'm gonna take a quick walk through just to show you what it's like back here. So it's pretty crazy today. Got so many amazing people working. This is just me walking through. This is my favorite part. Just almost trying to distract myself right now with, you know, super busy with Texas. But then these are all of our quick ship suits. And that's about the grand tour. One of these days I will do a full video recap on everything that we have going on in our headquarters. But for now, that's all you get. Here's my twin sister, Lauren. Say hi. Hi. This is one of my favorite things at our office, which is a treadmill desk. Great way to get some extra cardio in, because this week I am prescribed 60 minutes of steady state, so about 130 beats per minute on my watch, which I use. I actually track it using the yoga feature on my Apple Watch, because I notice if I use it for like an outdoor walk or weight training, it thinks my heart rate is higher. I don't know, something with the algorithm, so I just use yoga to be on the safe side, because I don't want my active energy, you know, oddly high or higher than what it actually is. And so that's what I do, because it doesn't really count the steps, because you know you're typing. So I want it to actually track my calories per step. I didn't want to record for long on here because it's super noisy, but if you see my watch, I'm at 128 beats per minute, which is good for 40 minutes. So my active calories are 193, and one thing, I'm gonna stop this. One thing I always like to remember is that these aren't very super accurate, but I can tell from my breathing that, you know, my heart rate is up there. So I can kind of take this and use it as a guide, but always kind of double check it, because I've definitely gone on slow walks before where it's like saying my heart rate is like 180, and I'm like, that is not correct. So I always make sure that this is kind of tracking right, just because, you know, during peak week especially, you want everything as tracked as possible and to take out all the variables so you know like how to improve for next time. And I'm rocking our new little Angel Showcase hats for this weekend. I'm so excited. One thing I wanted to share with you all is something that's sort of taboo, but it shouldn't be taboo. So I'll make a whole video on this, but long story short, I was in birth control for 15 years, and I also had in all the, I cannot forget the jumbleness in my head from peak week. But I had one of my ovaries taken out, along with the fallopian tube, which, you know, all of that together, you know, really made my hormones a mess. And so I got tested in January and realized that my testosterone was not even recognizable. So it was saying it was less than 5, and then I did several more blood tests at different times during the day. I also did a Dutch test, which does urine samples all throughout the day. So I had all these different tests telling me, you know, you don't have any estrogen, you don't have any progesterone, you don't have any testosterone. So it was like, I just have no hormones. So one thing that I started this year is my doctor prescribed 10 milligrams per week of testosterone. I just say that like that, just, it has a bad like taboo that I don't even know, but I'm gonna show you how I do it, because I know a lot of people are interested in that. And so unfortunately, because I'm on this 10 milligrams of testosterone per week, even though it's prescribed by my doctor, and you know, the issues with the surgery I had where I had my ovary completely taken out and all of that, I still can never compete in natural league anymore, which is, I mean, I don't know how I feel about it, but I did recently go to a natural show, and I was like, you know, whatever, it is what it is. But let's go through and show you how I do this. So it's very important to keep everything super, super clean when you do this, because there is a lot of opportunities for infection if you don't do it correct. So I always wash my hands really well with soap and water, and then start with, I have 2 alcohol pads here. And then the next thing I have is the syringe. So this is just an insulin syringe. It's very low, it's very tiny. So here it is. And then I am going to tilt the camera down so you can see. Okay, so first I'm going to really scrub on my thigh, and I'm gonna keep it pretty relaxed. I'm freckly, so I usually like kind of randomly pick out a different freckle that I'm gonna poke. And one tip, I just dropped that one, so I'm gonna have to open a new one. One tip is to let the alcohol dry on your skin. Otherwise, you do have more pain when you put the product in. So with this new alcohol pad, I'm going to really scrub for, at least 15 seconds, because if there is anything on here, it can easily just go into your body and just cause a wreck. So you really want to keep everything as clean as possible when you do this. Okay, then I'm going to take the top off that, take the bottom off this, and I pull this to just, it's like the teeny tiniest amount. So there's 3 little ticks, and that's all I inject once per week. So I put that in here, and then push those little 3 dots back up, and then pull down, and it will fill with stuff. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna take that out. You see there's a bubble in there. Okay, if you put a bubble in your skin, it's gonna hurt. So you wanna pop the bubble out. Okay, so now this has dried on here. So I'm going to kind of pinch the area around it, just to take out the nerves of it, and then go ahead and poke, press. It's just the teeny tiniest amount. Pull out, and we're done. Then I keep a sharps container. I'm very kind of, I guess I'm obsessive about making sure everything is clean, because I do have a medical background. So I just like been drilled all of that stuff. So I keep it in the sharps container. And that's that. Hello, so peak week tip: when you are hungry, go get a coffee. Yes, so Hannah and I go to Panera a lot at work, because it's literally just like right down, and then we get our steps in. Yes. And we get to chat for a little bit. So my Starbucks drink is decaf coffee, because I have too much caffeine anyways, so always decaf, with stevia and a little bit of almond milk. Hannah, what's your drink?
Mine is decaf coffee, almond milk, and a splash of honey.
And honey.
Yeah, so good. You wouldn't think it'd be good, but it's so good.
Yeah, so anything on peak week to distract myself from wanting to eat more, or not that I really need that right now, but coffee always does the trick, even if it's decaf. The majority of my work days is actually kind of some boring stuff. I know, like on social media, I'm always just posting my highlight reel of all the fun things I get to do. But for example, today I am submitting payroll for the company, and then I'm also filing all the 401k matches and calculating all of that. So it's just something we do. We have about 20 employees here at Angel Competition Bikinis, and we have a lot, I know I'm biased saying this, but we have a lot of perks of working here, and one of those is our 401k with a match. So every 2 weeks I go in and submit the payroll, and then I have to file all of the, calculate and file all the matches. So it is lunchtime. So again, it's Monday on peak week right now. So I am eating this huge salad. This is about 100 calories of carbs from the lettuce. And then my favorite dressing, I put a bunch of mustard in with a little bit of liquid stevia, and then a lot of salt. So one thing I want to talk about on peak week and salt is you almost want to do maybe more salt, because you're eating more natural foods. You know, you're not eating anything processed. So you want to make sure you keep your salt consistent. And so I've, back in the day, novice, ignorant to how to prep, I cut salt once. oh my gosh, it was the worst thing ever. I don't really get headaches, and I got the worst headache and I couldn't figure out why. But then after a quick Google session, I was like, oh, because I just cut out all my salt. So anyway, salt is very important. And then on my huge bowl, I have 4 ounces of this beautiful flank steak that my husband made for me. And then I also have another side of just some 40 calories of steamed asparagus. I like to keep asparagus in until, you know, a serving of asparagus a day, even the day before. You know, asparagus really helps to tighten up, you know, at least I feel like it does. It could be placebo. A lot of things I do are probably placebo, but if it makes me feel good, I'll do it. So asparagus, and that's my lunch. Just pulled up to the gym, going to Chiefs Fit as always I have 20 minutes of cardio left, and I'm gonna hit some shoulders and lats. So my prescription this week is 60 minutes of cardio a day, and I already did 40 minutes on the treadmill, so I'm gonna get those remaining 20 minutes in, and then on top of that, I'll probably go on a walk after dinner with my husband. It's just something that we always do together. I don't really count that as extra cardio or ever, because I do it every day, so my body's so used to it. So when I'm prescribed cardio, I think of that as extra cardio than what I would typically do, if that makes any sense. But getting ready to go have the best lift ever, sipping on straight water, which is different because I usually have like the little Skittles flavoring or something like that, or I'll have a pre-workout. Just something sweet in my mouth can really help me, you know, in between sets. But all of that is done with because we're doing our mock week. Started doing at Asian Competition Bikinis is doing group workouts. We have all of our seamstresses here. We got Jordan, we got Deb, Bridget, all of the employees here. We work out together at Chiefs Fit, and just helps, you know, the group camaraderie and team building and things like that. And these are all my best friends, so it just works out well.
This is helpful. So I'm gonna play it first, and then I'll just kind of pause and let you know. First off, love this suit. Okay, actually front pose is looking a lot better than what you sent me last night. You know, I think the biggest thing here is to really focus on keeping this waist as to the side wall as possible, or as to the side as you can, while still keeping these shoulders right where they're at. So it's gonna just require a lot of twisting of the waist. And then we don't wanna sink into this hip too much, because what happens is if you sink into this hip right here and push your weight out, it brings the waistline out. So you just wanna stand nice and tall. This actually looks really good today. So let's see. Yep, just continue to make sure that, excuse me, that you have your waist as to the side as possible when you're doing this pose and not sinking into that hip. So then coming back, so this actually, I may want to work with you on this in San Antonio. So when you're doing this transition, you really want to push all of that weight onto the back leg. And you're actually, you're not going to have any weight on this front leg, so you're on your toe, but we want to transition all the weight onto this back leg. And I almost want you kind of actually sinking onto your hip in the back as well. And then generally just what I would recommend is, I think it would look best if you brought this arm right here down off of your hip. So as you stand, as you step back, bring both arms down, not just this arm. I would bring this arm down as well. Side pose looks pretty good. I would almost, I would not turn as to the back as you are, so I would make it a little bit more of a side pose right there. Then let's check out this back pose. back pose. Looks pretty good. We want to make sure your elbows are not out too much, so I would just bring these elbows in just a tad, which may require your hands to be a little bit more on the center of your thigh in the front. But yeah, that'll help with your shape too. If you bring your elbows in, it'll make your shape look a little bit less like bottom heavy, because when you flare the elbows out, see, it draws a lot of attention right here. So just bring them in a little bit, and that'll help with balance. Good. So just, again, really just make sure that biggest thing in the front pose I want you to work on is like that picture I sent you last night in a text. Really focus on not sinking and pushing into this hip. I know a lot of girls try to do that because it makes their hip pop, but we actually want to stand up a little bit taller, just because when you sink into your hip, it actually brings out the waistline like this. So right here, just focus on bringing your waist more towards that side wall, twisting it to the side wall, and standing up a little bit taller so you don't have all of the weight sinking into your hip right here. But yeah, those are my critiques, and I hope they were helpful.
Rolling.
Okay, so this is egg whites with a little bit of carrot, and then I have prunes on top. I'm gonna try to flip it. Oh, look at that! That was the world's best pancake flip ever. Anyways, so this is about 70 calories of egg whites that I blended in the NutriBullet for like 3 minutes with a few of these like maple carrots I made earlier in the week. And then I put a little bit of baking soda and salt. Drew is recording me. Thanks, Drew. And then I did prunes. So one thing I like on a peak week, since this is a warm-up peak week, is to use prunes because it really just helps your digestion. So anywhere from like 20 grams all the way up to 50 grams a day of prunes, depending on how things are flowing. But I am going to enjoy this, and you can nominate me for like the winner of the best pancake flipper or something, because I feel like I deserve an award for this. But you know, maybe that's because I'm a millennial. I don't know. It's beautiful. That's all.